welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Kat. I'm a licensed registered dietitian nutritionist and online nutrition coach. And today I'm super excited because we get to talk with Monica Hayworth. We did part 1 over on her channel, and now we're doing part 2 over here. And Monica was actually one of the very first people who I started watching on YouTube talk about anti-MLM content, and she really opened my eyes as far as what the business structure actually is and what the FTC has to say about it and what income disclosures are. I had no idea that those were a thing before watching her videos and her channel. So I'm super excited to talk with her today. There is a little bit of audio issues a couple different times in this video, so please bear with that, but I hope you enjoy. This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only, and 100% our opinion. I'm super excited because we are interviewing the one and only Monica Hayworth.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, ignore the name that's in the box right now. Ignore that name.
I was about to say, and I was like, it's Hayworth. So we just got finished recording for her channel, and she is an amazing question asker and interviewer. I am not so used to this, and so I hope to provide as good questions on this channel. But can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, what your channel is, and how we'll be focusing on this video, because we're going to be diving into kind of not nutrition related MLMs. That's what we just did. We're going to be diving into CBD related MLMs and how that is just a mess.
Yeah. So hello everyone. I'm Monica, and obviously channel's Monica Hayworth. So I'm actually an ex-Beachbody Hunbot along with an ex-Mary Kay Hunbot. So I have kind of experience in a different industry of MLMs, but Beachbody is probably the one that I had the most experience in because I was in that one for the longest time. I started my channel just kind of like on accident because I stumbled upon anti-MLM content just randomly. And it was actually when I took over for the physical location of our CBD store that I started just like going on YouTube. But yeah, so I stumbled on anti-MLM content and I just started binge watching. It was Savannah Marie, Genetically Modified Skeptic, and Ethan Vanderbilt. And Ethan is actually no longer posting on YouTube. He took down all of his anti-MLM content. So, and I'm not sure why. I'm going to assume that it might be because companies like to come after you. Actually, you know this because I spoke about this in Patreon, but yeah, I recently got a legal threat as well. So not the first time, nor is it the last time. But yeah, so I came upon anti-MLM content, and then I decided that I was going to make one video to kind of give my story. And I had been anti-MLM for a bit, but I didn't know that there was a Reddit. I didn't know that there was an actual community or anything like that. So in my mind, it was just, I want to add my story to the mix so that it kind of, I guess, so that it kind of like helps the movement in a way. And then that video, as terrible as it is, it's terrible. It's the second most popular video on my channel, but it's the worst video ever. I don't recommend watching it. So it kind of just like took off from there. And then Alana from the Recovering Hunbot was the first one that kind of reached out to me. And she was my first impression of this anti-MLM side of the internet, this anti-MLM community. And that's when I decided to just, you know, just keep going with the videos. And then it turned into what it is today. And then I met a ton of other people, like yourself included. And it's just grown since then. And I see a bunch of people with different backgrounds. I see people who are like you, who are licensed and certified and all of that kind of stuff. Then I see people who are personal trainers. I'm pretty sure there is a personal trainer that talks about it.
Yeah, we need all of those people. We need all of those voices.
Yeah, and then we have like Amanda, who's a nurse. Then we have business owners like myself and Savvy. And then we have people like Alonda, who the instructional design, like that's what she went to school for. So she could really dissect these business guru courses. And then, of course, we have everybody else in the mix who's just, I mean, they're all amazing people. And it's just the community opened me or welcomed me with open arms. And that's why I decided to stick around and like keep sharing my story. And then once I started researching it more, I started realizing that it's more than just want to join my team. Like it was way more than that. And there was just a a big underbelly of all of this, and it was yeah. So I just started researching and then came to what my channel is today. And I do a mix of things. I do anti-MLM and true crime, and then sometimes I mix the two together. But also our family, we own a small business. So we recently actually shut down the physical location of our CBD store, but we are still selling online. But we do have another business. So I'm at the other one right now. But the CBD industry, it's not just MLMs. There's a lot of problematic things in the CBD industry besides just the MLM reps, a lot of misinformation out there. So I'm by no means any expert. So no one, like I'm really not an expert. It's just from what I've learned over the past over a year that, we've had this business. I think it's been two, 3 years, something like that now. So, so yeah.
I feel like there's a little bit of the whole Dunning-Kruger effect going on where you probably know more than a lot of the distributors in the CBD oil, which the Dunning-Kruger effect, for listeners, if you aren't familiar or viewers, it's that whole like when you don't know a whole lot, but you kind of know a little bit, the confidence is like way up here. And then the more you learn, it kind of goes down. Kind of goes up a little bit, not at the same level though.
Yeah.
Yes. So can you tell us a little bit more about like why the backstory behind the CBD that you, and like why you decided to really focus in that area? Because you're still doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. So the CBD aspect was kind of my brother-in-law's idea. He contacted my husband the one day and he was like, hey, so what do you think of this CBD thing? That's actually what he called it. He's like, what do you think of this CBD thing that we keep hearing so much about? And my husband was like, oh, I've actually been doing a lot of research into it and recently. So it was just, we kind of just thought about it. And originally, we were thinking of franchising, but then we started realizing just how much, no offense to anybody out there, but just how much garbage product there is out there. So we decided that we wanted to make our own brand because we wanted to make sure that we had quality products and that we could make it, because CBD gets expensive. So we wanted to make sure that we could make it at least somewhat affordable for what it is, because we saw as soon as we opened up, and I'll backtrack a little bit, but as soon as we just opened up the business, we saw CBD store after CBD store after CBD store opening up because it became a trendy thing. And then we started to have customers come into our store because the way that our store was set up is we had like a consultation area and we tried to make it professional looking so that when people came in, they felt like, they could come in here and they could ask us questions that they didn't have to hold back, that they didn't have to be like, oh, this is just like some girl with pink hair, like trying to sell me CBD oil. You know what I mean?
people with hair colors are the most fun.
Yes.
I need to redo mine.
Yeah, I have to. Do you see my roots? I have to redo mine too. But yeah, so we had the consultation area, and the way that we had our business was we were all about education. And there were plenty of times where I sat with customers for 45 minutes to an hour and they ended up leaving with nothing. Like they didn't want to buy anything because the way that we ran our business is because now obviously we can't have like the in-person contact. So it's all online. And I tried to do the same thing online as we do as we used to do in the physical store. The way that we would do it is educate them and allow them to make an informed decision on whether or not this is for them or not. Because like I said, it does get expensive. So for some people, it's not affordable for them. And
I love that you weren't pressuring them. That's huge. And that's
yeah,
your character.
thank you. Yeah, the last thing I ever wanted to do was to pressure someone to buy it, because I know of a lot of places in the area that did do that. And they would sell things to customers, because the customers would come into our store and they would sell things to customers. And I looked up their lab testing. There was literally like no CBD in the product. And the way that we spoke about it is we told the customer, you know, if you decide not to buy from here and say that you decide to go somewhere else, these are the red flags that you need to look for. This is what you need to look for. And because we really pride ourselves in the education aspect. Because yeah, we never wanted to force anybody to buy a product. That was not the point. Our products were, you know, we had our own brand and it was made to our specification. So we did contract with like a manufacturer. So we told them exactly what we wanted and they would make it to our specification. And then everything was third-party lab tested before it came into our store. Yeah, so that's something important to look for, because if the person at the counter doesn't even know what lab testing is, that's a little concerning. And please don't ever buy a CBD store from a gas station, because that's literally like buying sushi from a gas station. And please don't ever buy it on Amazon, because Amazon does not allow the sale of CBD. So most likely you're just purchasing hemp seed oil, which is fine. That has its own, you know, you could take that too. But if you're paying CBD prices, you want to have CBD in it. And if anyone wants a full breakdown of like CBD, I can send Kat some information if anyone wants like it all in one spot. But yeah,
it all.
like yeah, I will, because I have on the website, I have information overload. I'd rather overload people with information than not give enough. So you just have to read through all of it. But my first ever run-in with a CBD oil rep, it was a HempWorks rep. We were at this holistic health fair expo. This was it was way before COVID. I want to say it was the summer before COVID. And we went there and we were actually
Not
really
the health fairs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Young Living was there too, by the way. We were at the expo, and I did a quick walk around in the morning because I wanted to see like, oh, who else is here. And there was like some crystal healing thing. I did it and it was actually kind of interesting. Like I know nothing about crystal healing. So if anyone does, like, that's great, because it makes, like, I get so confused when my friend tells me about it. Okay, it's a pretty crystal. I have no idea what it does, but it's new.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I did like something fun with that. They had some guy that was like, I think it was cleansing or chakras or something like that. I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but I don't remember what it was. But then I saw that there was Young Living and I was like, okay, of course there's Young Living, big surprise. And then I saw that there was a HempWorks booth. And of course they were the loudest ones there. They had music playing and they were just like this, like all morning, like, yeah.
And HempWorks is
So
just
like,
CBD, right?
The last time I checked, yes, it's just CBD. But not to be confused with the company Just CBD, because that's an actual company name. But the upline, she was definitely the upline because she was way too confident to be anything but an upline. She was the leader of the pack, you could tell. So she comes over to our booth and she starts asking us questions. And so eventually, and I know that I already told you this, but your viewers didn't hear this. So
that's why I'm laughing.
So my husband is one of those people that is very quick on his feet and he can come up with a comeback in like 2 seconds. Well, this HempWorks rep was talking to us and asking us questions about our products. So, you know, whatever, no big deal. Yeah, we'll talk about it. And then all of a sudden she gets really snippety with it. And she's like, well, do you guys have a warranty? Like how it says? And she literally, that's how she said it. That's how she said it. And so I just looked at her like, you do realize that we're an actual small business. You are not. That's just what was going through my head. And my husband just turns around and goes, well, our product isn't, I don't want to swear on your channel, but our product isn't poop. So no, we don't need to have that.
A warranty.
Yeah, and the thing is that we educate our customers. So if our
Yeah.
customer, yeah, so like our customers know, because we'll tell our customers that, this doesn't work for everybody. This isn't for everybody. It's just like how in part one that will be on my channel, when you were talking about how certain ways of eating aren't for everybody. So it's the same thing with CBD, is it's not going to work for everybody. It's not for everybody. And I know people who I don't know what it is with them, but they'll take as much CBD as they can, and it doesn't do anything for them.
That's really good. I appreciate that. Like just knowing that, if I had somebody tell me that, what are like some of the claims or some of the ways that it can be helpful for people?
Yeah. So of course I can't make any medical claims because, can't do that. But because I've seen a lot of people make some really just crazy claims on how it can cure cancer and stuff like that. I'm like, no. You can't say that. We had a customer come in and they were asking us questions. And when I told her it might not work for you, it's not for everybody. And she said, well, the girl down the street told me that it cured her grandma's cancer. I'm like, no, no. And this lady was actually arguing with me. Yeah. But, so when it comes to CBD, I'm going to kind of go to a little bit of, I'll just talk a little bit like how I would with a customer. So when it comes to CBD, you really have to pay attention to the lab testing. And I've also seen that some companies, what they like to do is to make a quick buck, what's the best way to explain this? It's not necessarily that they'll dilute the CBD or anything. They do that too, but they'll add other
fillers.
Yeah, they'll add fillers into it. So a good example is they were delicious. They were CBD gummies. They were like the sour gummy worms. They were really good. But they had, I forget the name of the ingredient, but there was an ingredient in it that has an effect that's kind of similar to something like a melatonin. So, because I actually looked it up because I was curious. I was like, there's really not that much CBD in this. Like, what's making me feel, it wasn't necessarily relaxed. I was like, I feel kind of tired. So I looked it up, and it's something that has, or is supposed to have the same effect as melatonin. Like I said, I can't remember the name of the ingredient. But that's something to really pay attention to, is the lab testing and the ingredients, because there can be fillers in it. Another thing too is pay attention to the serving size. I've seen companies where they have like a 15 milliliter bottle, a 30 milliliter bottle, and then a 60 milliliter bottle. We only carry 30 milliliter bottles. And what I've noticed companies do is they play around with the label and the wording on the label, which is why it's really important to pay attention to that, because they were so adorable. It was like this cute little old couple, and they came in and they had a 60 milliliter bottle that said 500 milligrams on it. And they were like, they thought it was 500 milligrams per serving. But when I looked at it, obviously it's not 500 milligrams per serving. And I told them, I was like, well, how much did you pay for this? So they thought they were buying it in bulk because it was a 60 milliliter bottle rather than a 30 milliliter bottle that had 500 milligrams on it. So they really thought they were buying it in bulk. That's something that when you're looking into CBD, always pay attention to the serving size, because sometimes they do, like I said, they get really tricky on the labeling and stuff. And I know that I kind of got off topic from the original question that you asked me. But yeah, so everyone uses CBD for something different. I've had people who use it just because they just want to use it as a supplement. And I'm like, okay, if you just want to use it because of whatever reason, I can't stop you. But I always tell everyone that comes in, because obviously I'm not a medical professional, so I can't give the okay, like if they're on certain medications and I always tell customers, if you have some kind of chronic illness that you're trying to treat this with, I recommend talking to your doctor first, because you might be on medication that most of the time it's okay, because a lot of times they'll say that like, oh yeah, I talked to my doctor and stuff like that. But I never want someone to just willy-nilly buy CBD when maybe there is something that their doctor needs to look into.
Yeah, it's contraindicated or something.
Yeah. So and there was one customer who, she came in, I sat with her for like, I don't know, I want to say like an hour. And we were just talking about CBD. And then she told me, I forget what chronic illness she had, but she told me that she had something. And I said, listen, if you want to take a picture of the box that we have, our ingredients, all of that, take a picture of it, go to your doctor, ask your doctor if it's okay. She was shocked that I told her to do that, because there was another place that was like really trying to push the product on her. And I told her, I was like, just talk to your doctor first, because I don't want it to interfere with anything that you're already taking. Or there have been a few people who have said that they want to take it and they want to wean themselves off of certain medications. And I always tell them, don't do that unless you talk to your doctor, because if you're going to do that by yourself, that's dangerous, especially with like the certain medications that, that are out there. So that's always something that we're really careful about, is that if you're already on something, you should probably talk to your doctor first. And then I keep going off on tangents, like I'm not answering your original question. I'm so sorry.
I did that on your channel.
I'm so sorry. But yeah, so yeah, some of the things that people use it for is, like I said before, if they just want to take it, I mean, whatever. Some people use it for if they have some kind of pain and they want to take like an extra supplement to kind of help with it if they're already taking something else. Some people take it to help them kind of like relax a little bit. And the reason why there are so many different products on the market is because they all kind of work differently with your body. They all enter and leave your body differently. So for something like the CBD flower, if you're going to smoke it or inhale it, or even if you do like a CBD vape, it's more of an instant reaction, but it also leaves your body the fastest. Whereas if you have like an edible, this is kind of along the same lines of like, other stuff. But if you eat an edible, it takes a little bit longer to get into your body, but it also stays in your body the longest. And then the oils are kind of like the happy medium between the two. And they tend to be the most popular, at least with our brand, because we have more of a selection with milligram dosages and stuff like that with it. And then there is also a difference between something like a CBD isolate product and something like a broad spectrum or a full spectrum product. So it's basically the way that's extracted from the plant.
I know there's like topical as far as like in the sports world.
Yeah. So we have those two. We actually just sold out of our topicals, but we do have those two. That's more for just like a localized pain.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like I was saying, there's the isolate and then the full spec and then broad spectrum. When it comes to an isolate, a full spec, and a broad spectrum, it's like I was saying, that the safest way to take it is with a CBD isolate if you're concerned about drug testing. Because a full spectrum and a broad spectrum, I always tell my customers that I can't guarantee that it won't show up on a test. Because since it has more components of the plant in it, there is a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I have had customers who it didn't show up on a test for, and then I had a customer that it did show up on a test for, and they did like one of those at-home tests. So it doesn't mean that you're gonna get high from it or anything like that. But yes, right. That's why I always tell customers, if you're concerned about that, then take the CBD isolate products. And then if you're not concerned about that, you can take the other products too. But since we're predominantly in a military town, that's why I always make sure to tell everybody that, because I would hate Yeah. And even the military is actually really strict with it. They don't allow any CBD like at all.
I've mostly seen it for like that, or even some people with seizure kind of
That's me.
having seizure. I've
Yeah.
seen that some people will kind of go towards it, yeah, for that
So that's
management.
actually, yeah, that's actually something that one of the reasons why I take it. But this is something that is very important because I actually have epilepsy. Um, Talk to your doctor or your neurologist first because I'm still on my regular medication, like my daily, twice a day medication. But I take the CBD because the CBD, and this is, like I said, at the okay of my doctor, she told me that what she's noticed is that ever since I started taking it, it's helped with like the triggers that I have. So for the seizures. So she told me to continue taking it and that if I do want to experiment in the future with medical, I could do that. But I don't want to do that because I don't have the money for it.
So that kind of really brings in the question of, are the distributors of these companies doing the same? Are they referring to the doctors, or are they just saying like, this worked for me, check out this product?
That's a really good question because I have yet to see, just from my experience. I'm not saying that all CBD oil reps are like this, but this is just from my experience. From what I've seen, um, they like to make a lot of claims without, I feel like they don't have the proper education. I feel like they're just going off of, I don't even know how to explain it. They're just going off of whatever they hear from their upline or from, I hope that the company has proper training and they're just not taking it, which is a possibility. But I've seen reps say that it can cure cancer. It's not going to cure cancer. It's not going to cure any illness that you have. I've seen them say that it can cure depression and stuff like that. Like, no, it can't do that. It can't cure that. You can't say that because that's, first of all, that's how you can really hurt someone. That's number one thing. You can really truly hurt someone because what if you have someone who is on some kind of medication and then they decide, oh, well, because CBD cures this, I'm going to take this from this MLM rep. And then something bad happens to them. You know what I mean? That's the first thing that really bothers me is that it's so dangerous that some of these people will just be like, oh yeah, it can cure you. Here you go. And then like, you know, um, that's the first thing. The second thing is a lot of the misinformation and stuff that's out there really kind of makes the industry look bad because I know a lot of people, they don't believe in CBD and that's fine. You don't have to. Like you can say whatever you want about CBD. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, if you don't like CBD, like you're a bad person. No.
You're a hater.
Yeah, like I
You're
don't, yeah, like I don't care. If you don't like CBD, if you don't believe in it, if you think that this is all like a pseudoscience, I don't care. You can believe whatever you want about this. That's perfectly fine. But the misinformation that a lot of these reps say is just like it makes the industry look bad. And the fact that because they have to be pushy in order to make a sale, that also makes us look bad. That kind of ruins it for the rest of everyone. And that's not just MLM reps. That's literally any other company that's doing this the way that they're doing it too.
It weakens the integrity of CBD in the community
Yes.
of it. Just
Yeah.
how MLM weakens the integrity of coaches.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, a lot of times people have maybe had a run in with a HempWorks rep and then they hear me talk about CBD and they think that I'm just a horrible person because they think that I'm selling it for an MLM or something. And it's like, no, we actually have our own business, and we have our own brand and stuff. And we spent a lot of time researching and really working on educating our customers because we didn't want to go into this just because. And I'm not going to lie, working at the CBD store and when we had the physical location and being able to talk to people and like the thing is that what I liked about it too is that a lot of times people need someone to talk to. So at the same time of me trying to educate them, I can kind of like, they could unload on me. uh, so that was always nice because I feel like some of these people that came in, it was, okay, CBD is a last resort for me. And it was just nice to kind of hear other people's stories and be able to talk to them on a personal level, and then just kind of be able to, I don't know, it was for me, it was a really fulfilling way to work every single day, because not only is it our own business, but I'm able to, in a sense, I know this is going to sound kind of like an MLM rep, but I was able to help people. And it was, it was really nice to do that. And it's great to still connect with people through the internet and talk about that too. But I feel like these MLM reps, they see everybody as a potential dollar sign. Whereas for me, yeah. Whereas, of course, we have to run a business, we have to make money and stuff like that. But for me, it was so fulfilling to be able to talk to someone, educate them, also just be there for them, just like a friend would be there for a friend if they needed someone. Like I've had people full blown just break down in front of me and cry for like 20 minutes. So, and actually that's how I'm actually friends with one of our customers, because she broke down and yeah, her cat had passed away, and she came in and she just like, I felt so bad. So, but yeah, yeah, and it's nice to be able to have that like personal connection, I guess you could say, because a lot of these customers, they would become regular customers, and it would be to the point where I'd be like, hey, like, how are you doing? Did you go to your doctor and stuff like that? And people would actually be shocked that I would remember. And I always tell people, I'm like, I'll never remember your name, but I'll remember like what you tell me. I'll remember what you look like, but I'm terrible with names.
I love that.
Yeah. So, and it was just really fulfilling to be able to talk to people and help them and stuff like that. Even if they didn't buy anything, if I could be the person that they unloaded onto and just like, let out an ugly cry, that's fine by me. But yeah, I feel like the reps are different because they see everyone as a dollar sign, because they don't have the control over the product and the company the way that someone like us, like a small business owner, has. We could change our prices at any time. We can, if someone, let's say someone is missing like $1 or something, okay, fine, it's whatever, I'll give you that $1, it's not a big deal. Or
Right.
like I've done that with people before, where there was one person who was short like $5, and I was like, it's fine. Because I could genuinely tell that they really didn't have it, so it's not like they're lying to me, and plus it's $5, like whatever.
Yeah.
But and we can do that as our own business. I know that some reps might say like, oh, we can do that too, but if you do that, $5 to you is a lot more than $5 to us.
Yeah, it's not,
So
yeah, that's coming out of what they're paying you versus the whole
yeah,
having control of all of the back end money. They're just taking it out of the profit, which for you, you have that profit, but you also have that back end money. And so it's not the same thing.
yeah, and also I don't have to keep a PV at our CBD,
Right. To meet
like
your level.
yeah, like we literally order as we go. So it's not like I have to order something every single month in order to still be able to sell the product. So that's
Yeah.
something, and I feel bad because these reps, I do think that some of them think they're actually helping people, because I do think some people believe in
Absolutely.
CBD in general. So
Mhm.
I do think that some of them think they're helping, but you need to educate yourself, which is why I know that I haven't really gone over too much in this video because I just keep rambling. But like I said, I'll send you a link with like all the information, so that people can go ahead and read it, because there's a lot that I forgot to cover, but it's okay.
And I feel like just the industry in general takes takes kind of it manipulates kind of those people who do really want to help, because a lot of people join with that intention of wanting to help people, based on, you know, their experience, or based on what they assume their experience will be if they just are a one day or whatever they call it.
The
But
Thriver or
it's,
whatever. Like,
yeah, the first day, yeah, or something. But it's really looking, going back to the references, the resources, what we know, per the FTC. Like, it's not, it's not it, to put all of that, it's just so manipulative, in my opinion, of getting people in the door and just selling that dream, and selling them the idea that they can do that and they can help people in that way, when they can also help people outside of that. Like, you don't need to be a distributor for that in order to be in that community, in that area of practice. You can do it in other ways.
yeah, like I
You can
think,
be a
yeah, like I think that I wouldn't have such an issue with it. I mean, of course, I don't agree with the MLM structure, but I feel like if these reps were educated properly, I wouldn't
Mhm.
be as annoyed, because I'm actually annoyed with a lot of them when it comes to the CBD stuff. I feel like if they were actually really truly educated on the subject and they weren't spreading misinformation out there, I'd be like, okay, I still hate it because it's an MLM, but at least you know the proper information. So that's why, like, to me, it's just annoying, some of the things, like just some of the whole cancer thing really sticks out to me, because I've heard that so many times. And that really, and I think it's also because I've lost friends and family to it, that like to hear that, and knowing where my friends and my family were at certain parts before they lost their battle, knowing how vulnerable they were, I know that some people might think, okay, well, maybe I'll try it. Nothing else is working. And that's just so sad to me, that there's these claims out there. It's yeah, it's just really sad to me.
I kind of wish that you could get higher ranks based on your, how much you know, like
Mhm.
taking exams and stuff, not by how many people you get into a team. I
Yeah.
feel like that just because you have so many people in the team doesn't mean you know a whole lot about it. But if you're taking exams and taking, you know, all of this, then okay. Have you ever had HempWorks, or there are a couple of other ones, right? But have you ever had any of them try to come to you and invite you to learn more about the opportunity?
So I haven't been invited to learn more about the opportunity, but I had a Young Living distributor come into our store. And Young Living, I guess, I don't know if they still are, but when she came into the store, they were selling CBD oil.
Oh.
And yeah, so I don't know if they still are or not. But she was talking to me because she would buy the CBD flower from us. And so she was talking about the oil. And I was telling her, I forget how we even got on the topic, but she started to tell me that the Young Living CBD oil is FDA approved. And I'm like, mm-mm, no, CBD is FDA approved. And I'm like, are you confusing it with the lab testing facility? Because the lab testing facility might be FDA approved. That doesn't make the product FDA approved. And she's like, no, 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 the product is. And I'm like, can you show me that documentation that says that? Because no. And she couldn't show
When
me
did
it.
they start doing that?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm saying, because like I know that there are people who are like, oh well, I don't always go by the FDA. And it's like, that's fine. You don't have to. Like I use stuff that says it hasn't been approved by the FDA.
Because
But
they don't do that.
yeah, yeah. But it doesn't mean
Yeah.
that, you go around saying like, oh, our CBD is FDA approved. It's like, no, it's not.
Doesn't work that way. What would you really like tell, kind of wrapping up and encouraging people to know about the industry, and kind of related to MLM, and kind of what we've been talking about? Like, how would you kind of summarize that?
So what I would say is do your research. I know that that sounds just like an MLM rep sometimes because I always say, do your research, but seriously, do your research on the industry, on the products. Like I said, I'll give Kat the information because I didn't talk about everything because I ramble. I'm sorry. I ramble about like literally nothing. So I'll leave Kat with some information that you guys can read through, but don't stop at just what I give Kat. Make sure that you look through other things. There is, hold on. I can't remember. Let me look it up on Instagram because there's someone that I follow on Instagram. She is really, really savvy when it comes to anything related to this. Posey and Kettle is the Instagram account, and they do have a book that is called CBD and Hemp Remedies, along with, I believe there was another one. So I'll send you all of this so you can have it for the description box. But yeah, and Posey and Kettle on Instagram knows the science behind it, like really knows the science behind it. So I always recommend to just do your research. And if someone is really, really pushy when it comes to selling you oil, no matter if it's an MLM rep or somebody else, I mean, I would say tell them that you're going to think about it and just look into the products, because lab testing is another thing to look at. If a company doesn't have lab testing, I'm not saying that they're sketchy or anything, but you want to know what you're putting into your body. You want to know what you're ingesting into your body. So you want to be able to see that lab testing. So that's another thing too, is always look for lab testing, pay attention to serving sizes and everything like that. And yeah, if you hear someone making bogus claims, like that it cured something, and if there's someone who's selling it and they're saying that, I would take that with a grain of salt and look into the product a little bit further before you buy it. So, and don't let FOMO, literally do not let FOMO be the reason why you purchase CBD products. This is something that you really need to make an informed decision about if you really want to use it or not, because it can get expensive. It can get really expensive. So that's
fear of missing out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In case anyone doesn't know that, FOMO is fear of missing out.
Yeah. All the lingo and everything, but well, all of Monica's information will be linked in the description box. And thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so thank you so much for watching the video. If you've made it this far, Monica, thank you as well so much. I had so much fun doing this video on your channel and then on my channel. If you have not subscribed to Monica, her links and her information will be in the description box down below. And that's it. Remember, you can aim for health without subscribing to diet culture. All right, bye.